Hello! I'm sitting next to Tyler, and she and I met in a yoga class in DC. So we actually just get to know each other. I would say maybe like a few weeks ago. Last time when I was in
2 weeks
DC.
ago?
Yeah, but this is the first time that we actually hang out and we just had dinner together. And very good dinner. And we met in a yoga class, but you actually say hi to me, so I really appreciate that you started that conversation. It's funny because she told me that she would like to learn more about how to meet up new people in a new city, because Tyler is from Baltimore.
Yes.
And you moved to DC recently.
Yeah, I moved here in March.
In March, but I think that she's a natural at it, so I don't know why she still needs that that advice. Anyway, before we talk about the topics I know that you are dying to get into, I just want to say that this energy that you have is actually what attracts people coming to you as well.
Yeah.
So I think that you're already doing all the right thing.
For making friends.
So making friends.
Yeah, it can be a little like intimidating to come up to someone that you don't know and to say hi.
Yeah, but what made you want to do that
Well,
at that moment then?
So femininity.
Femininity.
So yeah, that's the topic I want to talk about today. So Zip's femininity and her beauty attracted me to you.
Oh,
Yes.
that's very kind of you.
Yeah.
That's very kind of you. But because you said that, and I just want to say this before we talk about femininity, which I think that you want to talk about. I think to start a conversation with someone, it's very easy to just compliment someone.
Yes, that's like
Right?
a good intro.
Yeah,
to
like a
meeting
good
someone.
intro. Like I think oftentimes we live in our heads so much that we, to your point, sometimes it can feel a little intimidating.
Yeah.
To start a conversation with someone. But
Yes.
I think that if you just compliment someone, you have nothing to lose, because who would hate to be complimented?
Exactly. Yeah.
So yes, so I have Tyler here today because we had this very long, fascinating conversation together at dinner, and she told me that she would like to talk more and learn more about how to cultivate the divine femininity, which is, I'm quoting her own word, and I don't know if I'm the right person to talk about this topic, but it's very fascinating to me as well. And when I zoom out, I do notice that people think of me that way. But personally, I always feel like I'm also doing a lot of things myself, and sometimes I don't know if I'm feminine enough. So I want to actually start by asking you why you want to talk about this topic, to like from the start. Yeah.
So I'm really into self-development,
Yes.
and a large part of self-development as a woman,
Yeah.
I would say, is about femininity. So I know the world runs on yin and yang. So I think yin is the feminine, right? So being a woman and having femininity, I just wanted to dive deep into figuring out like how to cultivate that, because I feel like it helps me better my relationships with people, and it also helps me understand who I am better.
Yeah. But why do you think this is? Because I think that when we started talking about this, you mentioned something also about how you observe the world around you when it comes to femininity.
Yes, so I feel like specifically in American culture, a lot of women have more masculine traits than they do feminine traits.
You mean in modern days?
Modern day, yeah, any modern day woman I would say, but more so speaking from experience.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very common to categorize an American woman as a bit more masculine than other cultures. And that's probably because it's like just the way our society is run. There's a lot of competition in the woman and woman relationship, and I feel like a lot of women feel like they need to be masculine to survive, or we've just adopted those traits for, I don't know, any personal reason.
I think maybe part of it is, the rise of feminism. Even though I identify myself as a feminist as well, but I think that people interpret that word very differently.
Yes.
And to me, feminism is not about being more masculine, and not necessarily like being a man or doing everything a man can do. To me, it's the ability and the possibility that women can become it if they choose to, rather than have to.
Exactly. So it's almost like trying to be your best self.
Yeah.
But because we are women, a part of that is finding out how to tap deeper into like our womanhood.
Yeah. So I think that like the definition of femininity to me is, I think that we all have the masculinity and femininity in ourselves.
Yes.
No matter what gender you are, but sometimes one of them dial up and sometimes one of them dial down.
Exactly.
And just having that sense of self-awareness. When you need to dial up something and when you need to dial it down is actually even more important than just trying to be more feminine.
I think yes, exactly. So maybe that's a big part of my interest, like where my interests peak, because I want to learn how to balance that better. It's essentially about balance at the end of the day.
So why do you think that you're not feminine enough?
So I've been told, I've never been told that I'm not feminine enough.
Okay.
I've been more so told, or it's been pointed out to me, my masculine traits have been pointed out to me. So for example, my communication skills. This is like something I'm working on a lot in my life. So I think I communicate very well, but for example, talking over people when they're not even done speaking.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't notice that when we were talking.
Of course you didn't notice, but I'm learning that everybody communicates differently, and especially to certain types of people, it can come off as aggressive and they might shut down. It might not open up to you to communicate more because you're coming off a little bit too strong. So I mean, that could be for men and women, but I know like women are receivers.
Yeah.
So instead of acting so much, sometimes I feel like I need to calm down, listen, reflect, and intake as much as I can, instead of like halfway listening and responding very quickly because I think I know, or because I'm excited in the moment because I want to share my thoughts. And a big part of just communicating with anybody is to genuinely listen to hear what the person is saying. So that's one thing. And then I'll say I have a temper as a woman to some extent, so balancing my emotions or managing my emotions is huge for me. So I want to practice managing my emotions in a way that is not so just disruptive. Because I feel like sometimes when I'm feeling emotional, I can become.
So here's the thing. I think that the reason why I need to say this is because I didn't pick that up when we had the conversation.
Right.
And that tells me that it's not because that's who you are when you talk about this. It's more so because there are certain things that trigger you, that make you react that way. It's not because you're aggressive, or it's not because you are not a good listener. It's because there are certain things that trigger you.
Right.
And I think it's important for you to understand what triggers you, because that's really the root cause of everything. And you can work from there. So for example, if what I can tell just through a brief conversation with you is that you are a woman with opinion, which is a very good thing, right? And sometimes we may be triggered by maybe some people don't necessarily share the same value or the same mindset with us, and that could be a trigger for you to react that way. And I think that by opening your mind to, stay present instead of like trying to think of how you want to counter that argument. It's going to help you, first of all, to become a better listener during that time, but also to seek, any sort of values in what someone else is saying, so that you can be empathetic, with them, which can allow you to soften your temper
or approach
and
to
your
anything.
approach to them. And by the way, when I say empathy, it doesn't mean that you have to agree with that person, or it doesn't mean that you have to agree with the situation, or you have to be content with the situation. It's not about that. It's more so about understanding yourself, but also understanding others.
Exactly.
And those two doesn't have to be the same,
Right.
But even the fact that we practice yoga often, I think it helps a lot.
Yes. And that's
Did you
another thing
notice
too.
that?
I do.
Yeah.
It makes me even more aware than I already am.
Yeah.
Which I love. So I just think being consistent in the yoga and yoga practice will definitely help me long term.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like stay consistent with that, because I definitely do think it's helping.
Yeah.
And just being interested in wanting to learn how to be, or like what femininity is, or because true femininity is not just about being a girl.
No,
Or
and it
being
is not
soft or anything
exactly.
like that. Sometimes it's simply about like learning how to manage your emotions, or how to reflect.
Emotional regulations is probably one of
Because
the
we're
most
emotional
important.
beings.
Yeah.
All we do is
Yeah, and I love that you said that, because I am someone who I know that I also do a lot of things myself, and that can be the masculine trait in me, But what always surprised me to an extent is when people perceive me as being very feminine, and I think that it's not about whether you are independent or you're not, or whether you're aggressive or not, because there's also a fine line between being aggressive and being assertive. Sometimes you can cross that line, and I know for a fact that I'm always very assertive. I'm more on the assertive side, but it doesn't mean that it's masculine.
yes.
It just means that you are self-aware and you know your value, you know how to communicate your value, and
right.
your you know what you want,
Yes. And what makes, I would say, probably what people see in you, that femininity, is your ability to communicate your assertiveness in a calm fashion, you don't have to raise your voice to be assertive, or you don't have to have an attitude to be assertive.
How did you pick that up when we only did one yoga class together?
Wow.
Because obviously we didn't really speak.
Right. I don't know. I guess it's just an energy thing. And just the way you communicate anything, like our conversations at dinner. I don't know. It's just, you can tell by how you communicate that you don't let however you're feeling in your communication dictate your tone, or you don't let it dictate
That's true.
maybe your temperature as far as like how loud you are. Like you don't let how you feel about what you're talking about affect how you're communicating.
Got it.
So that's a big thing. I don't know if that's a part of the feminine category, like a feminine trait, but it seems to be.
I would
Because
think so.
being masculine, you don't have to, you can just be outward. And that's just accepted because it's being masculine, it's more dominant. And the reason why women are so great is because we can be soft and also get a lot done without being assertive.
You can be soft, but can also be solid.
Yes, exactly. That's the middle ground.
So I actually didn't realize how much I've grown until I heard this from you, to be honest, because I think I'm also I used to be very impatient, and I think that somewhat I'm still working with my patience. I can be irritated very quickly because that's why I know that someone must trigger you because I'm the same. Like
Yeah.
there are certain things that can trigger me.
Yeah, I mean, we all have our things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you talk about being feminine is being the receiver, a lot of the times I feel like I'm the giver, and because I love providing people, I love giving, and I always know that it's more of a masculine trait than feminine, but because
we're nurture.
Yeah, but because I'm so hyper aware of myself sometimes that I always know that like, I need to work on this. So it allows me to always come back to the present moment, to kind of like watch myself, so in a way practicing separating yourself from your own physical body. So like if you close your eyes and you're picturing Tyler outside of Tyler's body, watching Tyler's behaving,
Exactly.
And you can at the same time guide your physical body in a way that you think is more appropriate. So practicing separating your inner self from your physical body, I think it's something that I practice a lot, and it doesn't mean that I become less independent, or it doesn't mean that I become less of a giver, but I just become more of the things that I think that has been lacking for me. So I become more content. I try to be more content just by receiving and not having to always, like oh my god, please don't. Like so, receiving compliments used to be, and I think still is one of the hardest thing for me.
Yeah.
Because I tend to deflect.
Yeah, and it's like you don't have to do that.
Yeah, and because I know, and I know that it's just so bad when when I do that. I know that, but it was so hard for me to change that. So every time when someone compliments me, because we just talk about this, I try to just say thank you.
Yes, and you know how why is that so hard?
Like, it's so hard.
I know.
So hard.
Yeah.
But it's a feminine trait to just being able to receive.
Yes.
Instead of always to respond.
Exactly.
React.
Yes, and that's what I want to get more.
And that's what I'm saying. Like
clarity on how to do.
Instead of trying to be less masculine, just try to dial up when you feel like, when you notice that it's been lacking. Shortage. So the way that I practice it also regularly is to always remember that when it comes to masculinity, it tends to live here, in our mind.
Yes, overthinking is one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah. Oh, I have an episode on overthinking. You need
really?
to watch
Okay.
after this. Yeah. I have that tendency all the time, but when I think about feminine energy, it's not here. It's in the heart, and it's in our lower body.
Intuition, like
yeah. So whenever I feel like I need to dial up my feminine energy, I tend to use my body language more. So you can see how I'm doing this, because it allows my focus to be less on here, but down to my physical body.
Wow, I really like that, Zip.
Yeah?
I love that. Yes, because I think I understand what that feels like, what that could look like. Yeah.
So for example, when you practice yoga, I bet you that you feel more feminine during those times.
Of course.
Right? Yeah. Because your focus is in your body, and also like she's a dancer as well. Like I'm not surprised.
I used to be.
Yeah. Oh, used to be.
Yeah.
You have a lot of dreams as well ahead of you.
Yeah.
Can you share something?
Yeah. So
you're open to it. Yeah.
I am a licensed esthetician.
Yeah.
So I plan to open my own business and provide facials.
Yeah. And by the way, she has gorgeous skin, and as you can already tell, she's gorgeous.
Thank you. And I'm probably going to get into just learning more skills, possibly in IT.
Right.
Just learning different skills that are of interest to my fast-paced brain.
Yeah.
I like learning.
So you can balance those activities, right?
Yes.
So with your IT interest, you can activate your more masculine
Yes.
the left brain that you have, and then at the same time by providing service to others, through beauty and
Relaxation.
nurturing,
Yeah.
it allows you to activate your right brain or your feminine energy. And I think it's healthy to have both. For example, with my full-time job, I look at numbers and data all the time. But when I'm not working full-time, I like doing this type of thing because I can be creative.
Yes.
I can express myself, and that's the feminine trait.
Yes.
And I think it's healthy to have both.
Exactly.
Even for guys as well, like for guys, I think that it's also healthy to have that feminine energy because it allows you to communicate and it helps
be more
with
compassionate.
EQ as well.
Yeah, I've actually never thought about like my recent interests allowing me to balance the masculine and feminine more.
You're just very intuitive.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. So it's like the more I stay consistent with those two things, the more I'll probably realize how much it's helping me gain that balance.
Yeah,
and just practicing creativity is important too, because we can think about things and like write them down like we're gonna do them all day, but it's really like you said, being in your body and physically doing it, so you can get into the feeling of like what you're doing. Pretty much. So like doing a facial, for example, it requires touch.
Sensation is very feminine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that. I didn't think about it that way.
See, I told you have a lot in you. You just need to unlock them.
Right.
Yeah. But I think there's another part that you said at the beginning is the reason why you feel like a lot of women in American culture, or I guess probably in general,
a lot of cultures
feel like they have to compete with each other. Is that what you say?
Yes.
Can be like, have you experienced that in your life?
So, for example, I haven't experienced any like in-person competition really with women in my life, but Instagram, I found myself like I've actually took my personal account down. I chose to remove myself from that. Because I felt like I was comparing myself to women a lot on social media, and just consuming a lot of unnecessary. It's kind of like the grass is greener on the other side. It's like I'm looking at other people's lives, or I'm looking at other people achieve certain things, or like women look this, or like they have this type of hair or this type of body, and I'm never like focusing on me and figuring out what Tyler likes, what's in my lane.
See, that's very feminine.
Yeah,
that's a feminine decision.
But I had to intentionally remove myself from the competitive nature. Well, I wouldn't say that Instagram has a competitive nature, but we all know how social media can be a little unhealthy. So, I don't know if that answered the question.
No, I want to actually explore that and unpack that a little bit, right? So, when you said that you decided to close your personal Instagram account, you feel better?
Yes.
Like, because you are able to detox from all the negative energy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because right now the other Instagram account I've created is filtered with only things that I'm interested in: yoga, aesthetics, spirituality. On my other Instagram account, there's people from high school I know. There are people from influencers. There's just a lot of, and people are posting about quotes that can be like toxic quotes, or like what they're eating, or what they're doing, or like they broke up with this boyfriend, or they're doing this, and like it wasn't benefiting me. It was just making me think about everyone else and not myself. And I was spending so much time doing that, I wasn't completing my task in order to feel the best, like the most confident me. And a part of being a feminine woman is being confident in knowing who you are.
And I love how you end with that note in that sentence, because being confident doesn't mean that it's a masculine trait. Being feminine can also be confident.
Yes.
And I think the true confidence is something that you exude, that you are so aware of yourself that nothing from the outside can destroy that or manipulate that, because you already know your strength and your challenges, which is why even if someone provokes something in you, you're not fragile, like
Exactly.
being feminine to me is being vulnerable, but it's different from being fragile,
Yes.
because being feminine doesn't mean that you're easy to be broken.
Yeah, it actually means the opposite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you can mold yourself in any situation, and the reason why that decision that you took for yourself is also a very feminine decision is because you decided to tune in yourself.
Exactly.
You tune in your own body, you listen to your body, and choosing to have the solitude for yourself, I think is very important. And I know that we talk a little bit about this, but that's something that I practice a lot, is to tune in, and and listen to my own body, how I react to certain energy,
That's
and it
important.
allows me to, for some reason, I attract a lot of similar energies
Really?
in my life, like you, and
Okay.
like we talk about how
Oh,
crazy
yeah,
it is
yeah.
today for me. That I met so many wonderful people and just have these really fascinating conversations. But that's really the energy that draw people in your life. And when you think about the people who, to your point, that they competed with you, or I guess jealousy in a way, is common. Unfortunately, it's pretty common for women who are also smart, beautiful, know what she wants,
Yeah.
and but the important thing is to remember that doesn't apply to all women, and I think that it's just because of the insecurity that someone feels, that sometimes it makes you question why they do it. Is it because of me, or things like that? But oftentimes it's because someone else is going through something that they feel insecure about, and that doesn't mean that, like, the way that I think myself is that I try to not take things personal,
Yes. Very important.
to separate it, because sometimes people go through things in their life that also trigger them to react to you a certain way, because they are not they don't feel full yet. Because they don't feel full yet, they have to cope differently. Versus when you, for example, if you feel full, you can be more tolerant with that, or you don't feel petty.
Yeah.
And I think it's a better way to look at it, rather than doing the same thing,
Yeah.
or questioning your own self-worth. Yeah.
Very important.
And that to me is a very strong feminine trait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even when it comes down to like success,
Yeah.
you see like accomplishments, where you feel like you're not moving fast enough,
Yeah.
or something like that. So not always just about like looks and beauty. It can be about
Right.
anything.
It can be, and
Yeah.
anyone defines success differently as
Yes.
well. But always remember that there are many women and men also, out there, who want to uplift you, who want to support you, and that's a fact that I know for myself as well,
Yeah.
because I always want to uplift other people, so I will also attract similar people who share similar value with me coming to my life. So we always amplify each other's strength
Yes.
and help each other become better, and that's also a very feminine trait, because you are nurturing each other.
Yes. Very important. Sisterhood.
Yeah, taking care of each other.
Yeah.
And I think going through that.
That's so.
That's DC, guys.
Right.
You would think that DC is less noisy than New York. Think again. But I think that just being aware of yourself and tuning in your energy, and practicing, like dancing, yoga, like the activities, or cooking, or painting, anything artsy.
And that's what also
Yeah.
too I know is very important. So that's why I said it's like what's the next step after awareness?
After awareness
Yes.
is when you actively practice doing the activities that I told you about.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
You do more of that, but at the same
More.
time, I think having role models very important.
yeah.
Going back to your point about the reason why you wanted to close that Instagram account because I think that you're exposed to people who
Just too many energies, too
many energy, but at the same time they don't really help you become better. You know, so I like how you change your social media consumption now, that you only follow people or things that you care about or like inspire you, because I grow because of that.
Exactly.
I grow because I only tune in the energies or the content or people who inspire me.
Exactly, for positive reasons.
Yeah. And when I say role model, it's not like, for example, like I don't really know much about pop culture or have any idols in my life, but just people that you meet in daily life, use them as your role models and observe how they act, how they live their life, what their mindset, learn from role models. I think is one of the most effective thing. And even like knowing what you want already is always going to be helpful when you want to remind yourself, maybe because I'm doing this now because I'm not so aware of the fact that now I'm being a little too aggressive or I'm being too masculine. But going back to what you want, like I want to become more feminine, but also more, how can I say, to be able to deliver what you want in a calm manner way.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like you create another trigger to remind yourself, that
like this is what I want.
Then this is what I want. So that trigger will allow you to activate the activities that you need to do at that time, or taking a pause. Sometimes when you feel like your anger is rising up, just take a pause, walk away, deal with it, and then come back.
Exactly.
And reflect and write. So to me, it's always about the practice. Because it's not like tomorrow you're gonna wake up and you'll be like, oh my god, I feel a lot more feminine now.
Right.
But if you practice it every day and also have good role models to remind you and keep inspiring you, and also like you want to inspire others.
Yeah, seriously.
You're very sweet. But see, like now I need to practice saying thank you.
Right. Just accept it.
Yeah, just accept it. I'm not gonna say anything else.
Right.
But I think sometimes you can be a little too harsh on yourself too.
I do agree. Sometimes I say that like being harsh is good, like it motivates me, but you gotta have grace with yourself too.
Yeah, I think being hard on yourself can be a good thing because it pushes you.
Yes.
Like it makes you want to become better every day. But be kind to yourself and like love yourself and take care of yourself. Even like going out to do makeup, dress up, doing your nails. You have beautiful nails, I can see.
Thank
beautiful jewelries. Like doing these kind of things, like beautify yourself.
Make you feel good.
Make you feel good. Like before you walk out of the house, play your favorite music, dance to it.
Yeah.
Like do anything with your physical body.
Yeah, I'm gonna really take that advice because I'm doing yoga, but there's more ways that I can incorporate that.
Even like in daily life, you can dance more. You can paint. You can cook. You can do your nails, do your makeup. And by the way, do it for yourself.
Yes,
this is important.
Yes.
Even if I'm not seeing anyone, and I go out, I always make sure that I look good. And when you look good, you feel good. Mm-hmm. And when you feel good, you attract good energy.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I hope that is helpful.
It's very helpful. Like really, truly. Yeah. Like you're doing great.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you.
Like, and I also love that you care so much about this because, like you were saying earlier, we don't need to hear more from people who are celebrities. We don't need to hear more from people who already have $1 million. Like we need to hear from more ordinary people who are experiencing more ordinary things and complications in life to talk about how they've outgrown whatever issues they were having and like what methods they use to get to a better space. Because we can relate more to those types of people.
So I hope you can relate.
I can. Yes.
Thank you, and
Yes.
thank you guys for listening. I hope that is helpful for you guys as well. If you have any other tips, please let us know. And Tyler, it's great to meet you today
you.
eventually, and we talk to you guys again soon.
Bye.
Bye.